Hey, you put your dirty boots on the sofa in your own house?
Oh, hey, go f yourself.
Hey Dave, thanks so much for joining us here at GameSpot Universe. So I have a couple questions for you today, specifically relating to Hotel Artemis. Now that you've had the opportunity to be on multiple film sets, what would you say was unique about your experience here?
I think it's just the tone of the film, and I think the nature of the characters, and the character Everest himself. I think the dynamic with Everest and Jodie's character, Nurse, was really. It's a maternal, it's a mother-son relationship, which obviously I've not gotten a chance to play before, but I think everything. It's just very original, different character for me, and a different type of film. The whole film itself is just the premise and the tone, the story is it's something new and fresh, which is the reason I wanted to play this role so bad. But everything about it is kind of new and fresh and different from anything that I've ever done. And it's also allowed me to kind of really showcase my acting, really just go out and play, a real character. And which is what I aspire to be. I pride myself on being a character actor.
Yeah, and speaking of which, now that you've had the opportunity to be in major blockbusters like Guardians of the Galaxy and Blade Runner 2049, is that what made you accept this role, or how do you accept roles in the future?
No. Well, I accepted this role because I wanted the opportunity to work with Jodie.
Yeah.
And that's the God's honest truth. I didn't really need to hear anything more, and I knew if Jodie was attached to this project that it was going to be good.
Yeah.
And I also I'm in awe of Jodie. I respect her professionally and love her personally. She's just a beautiful woman. But that was what it was at first. And then I read the script and thought I was blown away.
Yeah.
I just loved it. I loved the whole heart of it, and I loved that this was really a film that was based on relationships and love, but was disguised as something else.
Yeah.
As this kind of this sci-fi dramatic action thriller, but it just had so much heart to it. And then I actually met the director, who I instantly connected with. Man, I just love Drew, like as a human being, as a friend. He's just such a wonderful person, and he gives so much freedom as a director, and that's an actor can't ask for any more.
Yeah.
He's got this beautifully written story, and he's got a director that encourages him to just take control of this character and make it his own, and just gives you tons of freedom. I mean, that's what you want. I mean, that's what acting is for me.
Right, yeah, it definitely broke my expectations too, which I enjoyed about it. I wasn't expecting it to be so intimate.
Yeah,
in a way.
And that's what I love about it, and that's what's going to set it apart, I think, because you've seen films that are kind of action thriller, but they're just lacking of heart and lacking of character, and there's just so much heart to it, and I think that really is the luxury of having a writer / director. I mean, he's written this, he's put it on paper, so he knows what he wants. He sees the difference in this, what's going to set it apart, and that's the relationship between the characters.
Yeah, now this is going to be a non sequitur, but I noticed that you collect vintage lunchboxes, and I'm a collector actually of old video games. That's something I got into, and for me it's a nostalgia thing.
Right.
And I was wondering, for you, what got you into that? What led you to starting to collect that?
It's the same thing. It's the nostalgia. It's the connection. It's the childhood connection. It's everything about for me at lunchboxes in particular. When I feel them, when I touch them, when I smell them, when I feel the thermos, it reminds me of being a kid. I mean, I just have fond memories of having my lunchbox. It's going to school and the smell of the bologna sandwiches. It just takes me instantly back to being a kid, and I love them. And somewhere along the way, they stopped making them. They started making cheaper versions of the lunchboxes.
Right.
But those old ones, those old metal embossed lunchboxes, just bring me like straight back to the 70s,
Yeah, because it's funny, because I'm similar with the games I collect. I don't really even play them anymore. I just like having the boxes, just because it reminds me of that. Yeah, so I'm curious, though, with that, is there one that you're still trying to find that you haven't been able to find, or is it just a slow collection over time?
I've got a couple, but most of the ones that I really wanted, that I really had a connection with, I've got a hell of a collection. Yeah.
That's good. I'm sure at this point it's not too hard to do.
Well, there's still some that are hard to find. There's one, there's a couple I have that I'd like to have better quality. But at the same time, I have them and they're there, and that's I want to connect with them. I want them to be personal. I'm not collecting these because I want to resell them someday. So that's the thing, man. I'm just not going to think too much about it.
Oh yeah, for sure. I'm jealous when I saw your tweet about it. I was like, oh man, I want all those.
Yeah.
So I'm curious, from WWE to acting now, what are you actually more recognized for at this point in your career?
Still wrestling.
Still wrestling?
Yeah, and I'm not at all offended by that. I love and I embrace when people recognize me from films. It feels good.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I always keep in the back of my head that, for one, the wrestling audience is a dedicated, loyal audience. And I was on TV every week for almost 10 years.
Yeah.
So of course that's what I'm going to be recognized. And my biggest role to date has been, the Guardian stuff, the drag stuff, where I'm completely covered in makeup. So people don't make the facial connection there. But it's always, I think it's always going to be my wrestling audience.
Yeah, it's funny because I'll say for my part, the way I first saw you was Drax, and I didn't even connect it to it first. So I'm sure that's part of why.
A lot of people didn't.
Which is also a testament to your acting, too.
Yeah, well, thank you. Yeah, thank you. And also, I was much heavier when I was wrestling.
Yeah.
So I had a bit of a different look. I was definitely more muscular. So some people, even takes them a second to realize that they look at me and, are you Bautista? And I always say, yeah. If they ask me if I'm a professional wrestler, I'll usually say no.
Yeah.
If they say, were you a professional wrestler? I will say yes.
Well, I think that's true at this point,
Yeah.
certainly.
Yeah, I'm honest about it. But I also don't like explaining myself to people. I don't say, are you this guy? So I'm not going to sit there and give them my resume. But if they recognize me, I will say hello and we'll have a conversation.
Yeah. And speaking of Drax, what are some of your favorite Drax moments that you've had?
They're kind it's so funny because and it's fresh in my head. I'm getting so much love for this invisible stuff, and I had such a good time playing that little bit.
Yeah.
Even it's so funny because I was talking to Vin Diesel, and he said he really Vin gave me one of my first breaks in a film I did called Riddick.
Oh right.
So he takes a lot of pride, and he rightly so, in where my career has gone. But he pulled me aside. He said they took a 2.5-hour film, which is already way too long, and they let you have almost a full minute of you doing this.
Yeah.
I said, that is a testament to you, man. He said, congratulations. He said, nobody does that. He said, that doesn't happen.
Well, that's the type of break it needed, too.
Yeah,
certainly.
Yeah.
And correct me if I'm wrong, was Smallville your first full role?
Yeah, I think that was my first acting bit, which was something I didn't even really want to do. I took it because I was kind of, I'm superhero obsessed. I love superheroes, and I wanted to do that role in Smallville. Or I said I would do that role, but I had no aspirations to act. Didn't want to act, and even after I left that role, just was happy it was cool.
That was really early on.
But it came through the WWE, and,
yeah.
It wasn't something I went out and auditioned for. It was kind of handed to me, and I just did it, not thinking too much about it. It was long after that where I actually got the acting bug.
Was that from Riddick?
No, Riddick was after I left WWE. It was actually a film I did while I was with the company. It was called Wrong Side of Town.
Okay, yeah.
And the reason I did this, and I did it as a favor to a friend, again, thinking I don't want to be an actor, no aspirations to be an actor, didn't think too much about it, but I went and I did this role, and I thought, that was horrible. I was embarrassed of how bad I was, and I wanted to be better, and that's when I caught the bug. I was like, I want to do this, I want to be better at it.
You've been doing a lot of action films lately, so Blade Runner, Guardians, and now this is a mix. It's definitely a thriller too.
For sure.
But so what are some of your favorite action films in the past, and what would you say would be a film that would inspire you to do another action film?
It would really depend on the script.
Sure,
really depend on the script, and also certain people. Like I'd really like an action film. When you say that, automatically, Dwayne pops into my head.
Yeah.
And I would love to do a film with Dwayne, and it's been talked about in the past, but I would love that opportunity. And but I think mostly it's always going to come down to the script and to the character for me. It's always going to be a character thing for me.
Is there any specific, as you said, you prefer character acting, type of character you really want to play?
I want to do period stuff, and it doesn't have to be in the, I like to do, historical stuff, but even I'd even like to do something, 70s based. But I like period stuff, and I like the opportunity to go back and have that different look, that 70ish look, or even earlier. It's just hard. If you go back to a Western, like I'm dying to do a Western.
Yeah.
But it's just, because of the way I build, it's always gonna be hard to blend me into certain things. So it has to make sense.
I feel like since you said you wanted to do a Quentin Tarantino film,
Yeah.
he does a lot of Western style stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the one day
I
those
tried.
stars will align.
I desperately tried to get on Hateful Eight.
Yeah.
But they had it already cast and everything. But I have met Quentin in the past, and he was a producer on a film that I was on. So he's aware that I want to be a part of this project. So hopefully it'll happen one day.
Yeah, it's just I think about that. I'm like, oh, that would be perfect right there. That's the mix.
Yeah.
Well, I believe that's all the time we have. But thank you so much. I
thank
really
you.
appreciate it.
I appreciate it, man.
Yeah, it was a pleasure to meet you.
Good time.
There's a war zone up here.
Am I gonna make it out of here?
We can do it together.
This is what I do.
Visiting hours are never.
Busy night at the Artemis.